Hey, good morning, Northeast Division. Hope you're all having a fantastic Tuesday morning. We have a great show lined up today, and before we get into it, I have a very special guest. Came all the way down from the New England region, the sales dragon himself.
Morning, Jim Charpentier. I am special. Welcome, Northeast Division. A special shout out to my team, New England. You guys have been bundling and racking it, going on a couple of years now, but we don't have everybody in the mix, and hopefully we can get more people on board after today's broadcast.
Yeah, so let's do a quick recap of the previous broadcast. This is actually our fifth broadcast already. Time's flying by with this. But Jim, if you remember the first one, I had the sales guru Ed Donahue here, and we talked about how to be better than the competition.
Right.
And so Ed was talking a lot about, and we had the videos of the folks how like Kevin Kempton was talking about how he treats the inspection like it's his mom's house, making sure that they're taking care of the customers like that, and just making sure you're on time, calling in advance, stuff like that. And then in the next broadcast we did, if you remember, it was Gary Scott.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, what I liked about Gary is in the CSI approach. I mean, what we need to do really, we need to make the best inspection of every house that we go to. We do the attic, the main living space, the basements, and the exterior, and we uncover everything we possibly can. And Gary is probably the master of that, and he gave us some great tips on going out there and doing inspections.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome what Gary did. And then in June we had Bill Whitcomb from the Maryland region, and what Bill talked about was the different products. Some of the little lesser known things like the comfort zone, the turtle doors, doing a basement dry zone, things like that. Some of the things that's not, we normally do the termite pest control and do a lot of insulation. We also added through in there how to sell the gutter systems that we have. We have two available. And then last month we had John Harris here, and he talked about bundling.
Well, bundling is the thing. Let's face it, even though we've got numerous services that everybody can propose out there, everybody has their own little niche, everything they're comfortable with. They may avoid the leaf stopper or things like that. John kind of showed us how to put those into the mix too. Once you start getting more products down, you're going to be able to offer bigger bundles for packages that people need. I mean, we only offer things to people when they need them. So we should learn about as many products as we possibly can, and bundling is the way to do that. And obviously, RAC is going to be the best way to kind of offer it to them.
Well, that's a great way to segue into what we're going to talk about today. So today what we're going to talk about is something that is very near and dear to me, and it's RAC. And the reason that I'm so sold on RAC is it just makes sense for the homeowner. When you're looking at, when I first started here, the average job price when I was an RSM in the Maryland region was $1,500. That's where it was. And to help people to be able to afford these different services and stuff like that is through RAC. And so to me, it's a game changer out there. And what's interesting is that I have to look at all these reports and numbers and analyze different things. And Jim, what's crazy is, so we're the #1 division in the company. We're at 51% market share. Mm-hmm. And when you look at the approval rate, we're at 89.9%. So there's 10% of the folks out there that they don't get approved for RAC. So what that means is that we have 40% of the folks out there that aren't going RAC with us.
Yeah. Well, if you look over the past couple of years, I mean, the whole division has gone up year after year. We're just getting to that point now. We're at that 50% point. But to my earlier point, where we don't have quite everybody on board with the RAC, whether they don't buy into the program, they're uncomfortable with it, it's something that you have to, this is the way we do business now. And this is how we got to that 50% point. What we're looking to do, get 60, 70. There are guys out there selling $100,000 a month, and there's one in particular that I can think of, but 90% of what they sell is with RAC. My best guy up in New England, we're doing 70, and that is awesome. But I've still got guys that haven't bought into it, and everybody needs to get into this program.
Well, hopefully today we are going to reach out to those folks that aren't quite sold on the RAC and get them on board, because it is a game changer. It helps you close more business, and it really helps the customer. But let's do this. First, let's show a video. Let's ask some of the folks out there why RAC is so important to them.
Tim, the reason I use RAC is when we go out on a call, and we're there because they call about one particular issue, and through that thorough home inspection we find all these other issues. So when we sit them down and we go through all these different expenses, it's like the cherry on top. It gives them options on how they can afford and pay for these things before they even have to pay the bill.
Greg Adkins, Branch 305, North Baltimore, Maryland. The reason I use Rack is for our customers, these are unexpected services we're proposing, so it's nice to give them some flexibility for how they want to pay for that. And then also, I really think it adds a layer of trust. That we're going to do the work, we're going to come back, we're going to double check it, make sure it's great, it's up to our standards, they were happy with it, and then they're just going to worry about it a few months down the road.
Number one reason I use RAC is the 90-day same as cash option. No money required before service is complete. Gives me an opportunity to go back, take after pictures, make sure the work has been done correctly. I don't know of another company that offers that, but RAC is the way to go.
So why I use RAC comes down to really just one basic understanding, right? And that is economics. If the average American has anywhere between $4,000 and $5,000 in the bank at any given moment, and our average ticket is anywhere between $4,000 and $5,000, in retrospect, what you're doing is you're asking those customers to spend their entire savings with Orkin. Now, granted, some of these remedies are more than definitely priority. These customers have the rest of their lives going on around them, okay? So to spend it in all, one fell swoop with Orkin really is just wishful thinking. And people that aren't using RAC are wishful thinkers. And listen, God bless you if you can spend, sell, $50,000 to $60,000 in a month using only cash options. That's rock and roll. But for me, I'm going to stick with RAC.
What's up, Brady? So the reason I use RAC is it just makes the most sense for the customer to have us come out and do the work. I can come back and do my couple inspections after the work is completed, make sure everything is working properly. Then after that, you'll get a bill in about 45 days that they can pay at that point.
Have you drank the Kool-Aid yet? It's time to drink the Kool-Aid. Rack is the only way to go. Yeah!
Oh yeah!
I'm ready. So apparently me and Tater were on last name basis. Tater, you're my man. So before we get into a breakdown of some of the things that these folks said, chime in and through the group text, throw out some of the reasons why Rack is important to you, why you use RAC, and then when we're done a little bit, I'll go through some of the responses out there. But Jim, so Craig Tatum, he's in Virginia, and he talks about how he goes back, and what's interesting about him. I was out in the field with him a few weeks ago, and when he makes a sale, he makes sure he goes back to the customer 3 or 4 times to make sure what we did worked. So if he's doing an attic remediation, doing a clean out, making sure that everything is up in the attic is okay, things like that. And it really, before they got to make a payment. So that's his approach to why he's using RAC.
Well, I mean, that's a great approach to have. I mean, by going back, you're accomplishing a whole bunch of things. I mean, you're making sure that customer's happy, number one. Making sure we did what we said we were going to do before we went out there. And the manager should be back there in that time frame too, to go out there and check it and make sure everything is right. But also you get the advantage of now, when the customer's happy, they're more likely to give you a referral, or you can clove a leaf next door. You can build off that. And by taking before and after pictures, I mean, we all have those generic pictures that we get in the Present app that we use in slides and things of that nature. But what is it to say the guy in this town or a town next door in your territory that you have a before and after picture of? This is the place I went to, this is what it looked like before we did this job last month, and this is what it looks like now. I mean, that's powerful stuff.
Absolutely, and that leads exactly what Greg Adkins was talking about, where it builds trust. When you're able to go out there and you go back and make sure that the job is done right, I mean, it builds so much trust with that customer. We don't know, man, we don't want a dime from you. We're going to make sure that this is done and it's done right, and we're going to come back and make sure that, what's more trustworthy than that, not accepting a dime?
No, right? You want to be able to build trust with your customers by letting us go out there and getting that work done, and then making sure the customer's happy before they pay for it. If they're not happy at any point, we're going to do the best we can to get that done. We're going to get that, make sure that they're happy with it before that 90-day period. So, when they go to write that first check, or when they will go to pay it off in full, they're happy with the service.
Exactly. So many people are chiming in right now, like Andrew Brooks up in Rochester. He said it gives us a chance to do the work and make sure the customer's happy before they have to make a payment, which is exactly what we were talking about. You know, and the other thing, when we're going back to that video, Scott Bechtel out of South Pittsburgh, he was the first gentleman in the video, and he talked about that it's an unexpected expense. And let's face it, when, you know, there's that thing called the lead that comes in every once in a while. I don't know, I hear about those things, but I don't really, you know, see too many of them. So most of what you folks do out there is creative, where you're going out in the starts, you're going to the PC no TC list, you know, you're doing reinspection and stuff like that. And the approach is that we're going out there and doing a top to bottom, you know, home inspection because it's part of their service, which is exactly true. So we're going out there and doing that. And what Scott was talking about, it's an unexpected expense, is that all of a sudden we find all this stuff going on in an attic, or there are moisture issues in a basement or a crawl space, and all of a sudden we're going to sit down and go over our findings. And what happens, Jim?
Well, when we go through the findings, what happens, Tim?
We whack them with a big expense.
Yes, we do.
that they're not prepared for. Just like you weren't prepared. That's exactly why I did that. I put Jim on a spot. It's kind of like when you sit down with a customer.
Sorry,
buddy.
That's not how it went in rehearsal.
At rehearsal.
No, but you are acting them with a big expense, and the whole trust factor, and the fact that you go out there and you can get the job done first, you know, and we are hitting them with a big expense. What was that about savings account? You know, where?
Oh, what Josh was talking about.
Exactly.
I'll tell you what. When I saw this video, I got these from the guys like a week and a half ago, and I saw Josh's video, and he's talking about people having $4,000 to $5,000. Me, I went on, you know, the old Google machine there and looked it up. And Jim, did you know? Here's a little fun fact of the day for you. That 62% of Americans do not have a savings account.
Okay.
Crazy, right?
That is.
And
that
what's
is.
even more crazy, Jim, get this, that the average balance in a savings account for the otthe people, the 38% that do, is $5,400.
Wow, that sounds like what we're asking for.
Yeah, right? So we're going out there, and when, like Scott talked about the unexpected expense when we're doing a top to bottom inspection, also we're sitting down with them, and Josh is saying that we could wipe out their whole savings account. Crazy stuff.
That's why RAC is so important. I mean, they're saving for a rainy day. Are we their rainy day?
Right.
I don't know. You know, don't quit your day job, all right? Because you're going to need to keep putting money back in the savings account. By offering them RAC, whether it's 90 days same as cash, which is a great approach, you know, because they always take those monthly payments. That allows them to get done, take care of the work that they need to get done now. I mean, let's face it, we're going out there, we're finding problems with their house that they need to take care of. So we need to give them a way to pay for that without wiping out their entire savings account, and RAC is the way to do that.
Amen. Yep, exactly. And then Greg Bates spoke about, you know, the 90-day same as cash. Not many other companies, if any, offer that in our industry. That when we're out there,
yeah.
And that's powerful. That's powerful stuff. When we're able to sit down with a customer saying, no, you got 90 days to be able to pay this off. Don't worry about it. I don't want any of your money for 90 days. Yeah. So again, it builds all that stuff from the unexpected expense to the trust factor, taking care of that customer, going back with the after pictures, all that kind of stuff, making sure that the job is done right. And if it's not done right, we're going to fix it before they got to give us a dime.
May I add something to that?
Absolutely, man.
Now, we had what, 5 different guys on that video. They all had different approaches to RAC. There's 5 different ways to look at it, but they all had one thing in common. They had that RAC mindset. This is how we do business now. You know, whether it be, you know, so they can afford it and not wipe out their savings account so we can get the work done first. Whichever your approach, you've got to get it in your mind that RAC is how we do business. And then you'll be able to close with RAC because you have to believe before they'll believe.
You know, that's a great point, Jim. And when I started at Orkin, and when we as RSMs we do our own training classes, you know, in our regions, and I had my way of doing it. You know, I had my approach where, you know, I'd show the pictures of the text. These are the guys going to do the job, and then what's going to happen is that they're going to, within 30 days, the managers are going to come out, check. Here's the manager, check to make sure the job's done right. I'm going to come back and make sure that everything is, you're happy. You know, check to make sure it's up to Orkin standards, state standards, and we'll send you a bill. You can pay it off or break it down to 12, 24, or 36 monthly payments. Yes, back then there was only 36 monthly payments, not the 48 or 60 that there is now. But that was the way I did it, and that's the way I taught, you know, in my classes how to do it. And what's interesting, I got into this role, and now I get to visit 65 branches throughout the Northeast, and there are so many different ways that people do it. And, you know, these are the guys that are going to President's Club. These are the guys that are going to the RAC trip. Like all these folks that we just saw in the video earlier, they all go on the RAC trips. You know, they've all been to them and going to the one. They'll be going to ones in February, stuff like that. But they all have different approaches. So Jim, let's watch a video that actually shows 4 different people with 4 different approaches and how they do an actual RAC close. Pay attention. You might want to remember some of the stuff because something in here might kind of trigger for you that'll make you more comfortable doing this. So if we could watch that video.
All right, Gary, so what we have here for you is, if you don't have any other questions on the services that we recommended for you, here's what a breakdown of the prices and the services. This will be the attic work, this is the exterior exclusion, and this is the termite control. We also have a 45 to 90 days same as cash, which is our delayed billing. You can pay off the top amount, or anything remaining would go into a delayed billing for all these services we recommend. Whichever will best fit you, or we could add them all 3 together and give you one total price.
Total cost is $10,500. What we do is we bill you the total cost. We understand that we're a service company and there's reluctancy to pay service companies up front, even if it's a percentage. Everybody in the back of their mind is worried about the type of work that these companies will do. And we totally 100% get that. So what we do is we want to come in and we want to dazzle you with the work that we do. And then when it's done and you inspect and you look at what we've done and the quality of work, you sign that the job's complete. At that point, you're going to get a bill within 3 to 4 weeks. The total cost will be due within 3 months at 0 interest. So you have plenty of time to see that what we did worked. You also have the option to pay it off over time with convenient payments, anywhere from 1 year to 5 years, with payments at your leisure through every month throughout that duration of time. I could have somebody out here within a week to get everything done. It looks like Thursday would be a pretty good day. What option sounds best for you?
Right, so now after going over everything, total price for the job is $93.70 for the attic remediation. We offer 90 days, same as cash, or you can finance up to 60 months. Okay. You have 12, 24, 36, 48, and 60. As you can see to the right here are the monthly payments.
Okay.
Whatever you're comfortable with. You get 12 months at $908, 24 at $503, 36 at $370, 48 at $305, and 60 is the lowest at $268. It's up to you what's best for your budget.
I'll go to 60.
60?
Yes.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, Gary, what we're going to do is we're going to come out and get this work done. I'm going to come out and check the work, take pictures for you, make sure you're satisfied with the service. Then in about 30 days, my manager's going to come out, check the work, perform an audit, and at that point, you're going to get the bill about 90 days later, and at that point in time, you can pay by check, cash, or credit card, or if not, you can break it into an installment of 12, 24, 36, 48, or even a 60 month. Which option works best for you?
About drinking the Kool-Aid. RAC Kool-Aid. Picture after picture. I got it all.
The thing of Bates, it just makes me laugh, the Kool-Aid thing. Mm-hmm. So what's interesting about that video, Jim, is when I asked these guys, these are all folks that are going to be at President's Club. They're all folks going to be at the RAC trip, Chairman's Club, Chairman of the Chairman's Club. I asked them, I didn't coach them at anything. I said, they're like, what do you want in this video? I said, I wanted you to show how you do that. Yeah. To just show how to do it. Because obviously what you're doing is working. I want the folks to see that.
Right, right. And there's different approaches. They all have different approaches. I mean, you commented during the video that, there's guys out there that are saying, well, it's going to be $10,500. And you're like, oh, I would never tell them the total price. But it works. Why? Yeah. They're going to know what the price is at some point. No matter what you do, you're going to end up having to tell them what the total price is. You might as well start with it up front. This is the amount, but this is what you need to do. You can pay it in 90 days, or you can go to the monthly payments. So there's options. There's different ways to approach it. It's the mindset, and you won't get me to ever stop saying that, because I'm a true believer that if you just go out there and practice your craft and get better at it and just believe this is the way we do business, that's what's going to happen. And some of these guys here, I mean, the amount that they sell is it's breathtaking.
Yeah, it's great. Breathtaking. So take my breath. But so breaking this down, when you look at Andrew Kusma out of South Pitt, this guy that's going to President's Club again. He was there last year, is going this year. He kind of does an old school approach where he actually writes out on the paper how he does it. And I was out with him It was probably a year ago. I know, Andrew, I I owe you a few days in the field. But I'm watching him writing this stuff down. I'm thinking, man, I would just be using my iPad. I don't know why he's doing that. And I watched him do it, flips it around, and he has, so what he does is he has the total amount and then a 36 monthly payment for each of his services. And he just lets them decide. And then at the bottom he has the total cost, which 36 monthly payments. And he uses the 36 monthly payments because it gives some flexibility as far as if they want something a little, if they can't afford that, they can go to the 48 or the 50 or the 60 months. Or whatever, but he leaves that choice up to them and just does that total choice code, and it gives the customer their, gives them control.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed that we still have people out there using paper, but apparently it works for him.
Yeah.
So I mean, whatever approach you need, you know your own personality. My man Justin on there, I mean, when he did his little presentation here, it was okay, but when he's out in front of customers, he has such a dynamic personality that he just gets out there and he just exudes himself upon these people, and they're just overwhelmed with his knowledge and the way he kind of interacts with them. So use the skills that you have and get your mindset right, and that's where paper, whatever it takes.
Yep, exactly. And Justin, talk about a personality. I mean, he the word he uses, dazzle. We want to dazzle you with our service before we take a dime from you. We want to make sure that's right. He's a guy that comes right out. Yeah, it's going to be $10,439, but here's how we're going to bill you. We're going to make sure that the job is going to be right, and that's powerful because a lot of the ancillary services that we have is borderline contractor work, if you really think about it. And most contractors want money up front and hear the horror stories about them disappearing and all that kind of stuff. And Justin kind of really hits home with that with the customers.
Right, and that's just how he is when he's in customers. He was the first guy in New England to really take off with the bundling and the RAC thing about 3-4 years ago. It's been, I can't remember how long. But since then, we've had people, because of his success, kind of following into his footsteps, and they get a run for his money for him. But he's still, he's flying high and he's doing a great job for us, and we're so happy to have him with us.
Yeah, then the next approach was DJ Christian from Maryland, and his approach, one of the phrases that he uses at the end that I really love is, which one best fits your budget? Because it gets the customer thinking, yeah, my budget, what can I afford? And it really makes it like a really unthreatening close. Like which one best fits your budget? He's not going to make the choice for him. He's right up front with the money. He's another one like Justin, just comes right out. Yeah, it's going to be $9,732. But here's how we bill you. We can, which one best fits your budget?
Yeah, and the important piece about this, when you're going after that, you're going to assume the close. The customer needs to get this done, so there's no question. All right, it's just which monthly payment is going to work for you. Because we know you need to get this work done. Because your house, we're trying to help you, we're trying to protect your investment. And that's the approach he takes. And like I said, with the total cost, they're going to find out what the total cost is anyway, so why hide it?
Exactly. Yeah, you're exactly right with that. And then, of course, there's that guy, what's that guy's name?
Brad
Conner. It must be a new guy, I don't know.
I've heard his name somewhere.
Yes, you might have heard of that guy before. But no, his approach, and you saw right there, it was so natural the way it flowed. Because he uses it at the same time every time on his 8 appointments a day. But he stresses the 90 days. We want to make sure everything is right. I'm going to come back, take the pictures. There's a theme with these guys coming back and taking pictures, if you haven't noticed. But we want to come back, take the pictures, make sure that you're happy. And then in 90 days, we send you a bill, and you could pay it off with a check, cash, credit card, or monthly payments, whichever one you want. Because a lot of times I see on GroupMe's, people didn't want RIC. They wanted put it on their credit card. Which, whatever, I have credit cards that I like my points too. I mean, for hotel and airfare, things like that. But the reality is, if somebody came to my house and they came up to my attic and my basement and said I needed $10,000 worth of stuff, and I'd want to put it on my credit card, I'd rather make sure the job's done right before I give you my credit card number. Mm-hmm. I want to make sure that, I want to see the benefits of this before I put it on my credit card. And that's his approach.
Absolutely. I mean, it all boils down to this. I mean, these guys, they know how to sell with RAC. They've been doing it for years. Like you said, President's Club, Chairman's Club, Chairman of the Chairman's Club, they all go to the RAC trip, which I heard isn't bad. I heard it in a different term, but we'll go that way. So they're all going to these trips. What we're trying to reach out to here is not these guys. They already know what they're doing, all right? They've been doing it for years. It's those of you that first get into this with the RAC. It's scary, all right? Because those are big price tags. It's hard to ask somebody for $10,000 to $15,000 when you're 3-4 months on the job. You're going out there, you're doing an inspection, all of a sudden you come across this attic, that's loaded with feces and urine, and it's all contaminated. And then you look outside and they got trees growing out of their gutters. It's like, it's overwhelming, but you just got to get past that. Do those great inspections, find this, take great pictures, right? Pictures are what sell. And then when you go to give your presentation, it's all about showing the issues, showing the solutions, showing the pain, if you will, all right? And show them what we can do for them and how it's going to make their home better, how it's going to make their life better, how it's going to make them healthier. Let's face it, if your attic's contaminated, that's an unhealthy environment for your family to live in. So we got to make sure we take care of these families. And RAC is really the only approach to do that. Sure, people will whip out their credit cards or they'll whip out their checkbook and try to pay us off, but that's kind of a burden on them. Wouldn't it be better if we can give them a monthly option to pay for it? And those people with money like to hang on to money. So if they can hang on to it for 90 days, and get their interest on their account before they write us a check, all the better, But we've got to make sure that in our mindset, that we're doing what's right for the customer. We have to believe in it, and we got to give them this option. No fear, all right? There can be no fear. You just got to go out there and do your job every single day the same way, over and over again, customized for each individual house, and you will be successful.
Exactly. And when you're looking at sales, the hardest part about selling is asking for the money. It's overcoming, that price. And when you buy into RAC and that whole 90 days same as cash, it just takes it out of the equation, but the money part. Because you got to remember that when you're out there doing your top to bottom, inside out CSI and inspection, it's not your fault, all the problems and issues that you find at a house. It's not your fault. But it is your fault if you're not taking pictures, explaining it to the customer, why it's an issue, showing them how we can fix it, and then offering them an easy, painless way to be able to pay for this thing and make it affordable. So that's where RAC really comes in, and it comes into play. And I've seen it over the past 8 years that I've been here, that when people are bought into the RAC, it takes them from average to great. It just does, because like the best thing about sales, numbers don't lie.
All right. Takes out the fear, gives you a way, gives the customers a way to pay for it. And it's really, what it's done for us, honestly, in 2013, and I know I talk a lot about New England, that's where I'm from. I'm the sales dragon of New England, in case anybody was wondering. But in 2013, we had a 5% market share for RAC, and last year we finished at 49, and we're going to do better than that this year. And what it's done for we call it OPP up there, because we don't really have that much in termite. So we sell a lot more ancillary services than we do termite services. But what it's done for that ancillary service number, it's 10 times higher than it was in 2013. We're going to approach almost the $3 million mark this year, $3 million mark this year. When back in 2013 we were at 400,000.
That's awesome.
It's all
awesome.
about the bundling and the rack, and that's what we've done up there, because we've become believers. Which is, like I said, when you're new, don't get scared. All right, just go out there and do it. It's okay to make mistakes. All right, as long as you learn from those mistakes and move on. Don't do the same thing over and over again, because that's kind of, But if you go out there and you learn from your mistakes, you'll be successful. You just got to have that mindset, and you just got to know you're helping people, you're taking care of customers.
Yeah, and the biggest mistakes that we talked about this in a broadcast previous, making sure that you enlarge the signature, making sure that your branch managers actually sign the agreement so it don't get kicked back, and make sure you fill out every box that's on the agreement, because we miss employment, things like that. So those are the reasons why we get kicked out. And real quick, an update. I know there's an issue with the RAC app right now. It's not the app, it's not the iPad, it's not technology. It's actually on Equifax, and Allman is diligently working through that to try to get that fixed. So for the time being, we've got to just call in. You either use the automated or tell Terrence and Sarah, hey, what's up, and be nice, because they're getting overwhelmed right now. But anyway, that's the update. So they're working on that. Hopefully, we'll have a fix sometime in the near future. Few things real quick before we close this up. What some of the folks are saying out there. Howard Hughes is saying that RAC is a tool that separates us from the competition, builds value in your presentation, and trust with the client. The more you build it into your presentation, the easier it gets. Amen, Howie. Ed Masheri he gave an example that he was at a lead a while back, and the father was telling his kids that they might have to cancel their Disney trip to pay for our work. Could you imagine that? That'd be a shame. You know what I mean?
That's
that goes right into what Josh is saying about the money people have in their savings account, what RAC can actually do, because we're an unexpected bill. But because he explained the 90 days same as cash, we got the work done. They went to Disney. All's good in the hood. Everything's great. So with that being said, any last comments you want to throw out there?
No, I appreciate you listening, and I hope someday that you invite me back, because this was a lot of fun. just take the fear out of it. Just go out there and just do your thing. You know, and practice is what's going to make you better at what you do. You're never going to be perfect. You're never not going to make mistakes. But it's just going out there and just doing your job to help people. You know, RAC, ROC, all the way.
Amen. And as, like Jim was saying, that, you know, the practice, what I strongly encourage you to do if you're uncomfortable with your RAC close, just practice. Because you see these guys like Brad Connor when he was in the car, you know, and the video taking him, it just flows. It just flows, and it becomes so natural at the end. And again, practice makes you perfect. So, well, it doesn't make you perfect,
Better.
but it makes you better.
Better.
So, sorry, Jim. But anyway, with that being said, you know, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure that you are out there, you're filling up your day, doing those killer, the CSI inspections, making sure that you're bundling, taking lots of pictures, showing what's going on with the house, and using RAC to close. And with that being said, thank you. Have a great today and a better tomorrow.